Hi y'all, welcome back. Today we are talking about Tantra. I'm excited because I feel like when we think of Tantra, a lot of us think sex, pleasure, big orgasms. But what actually is it? Where did it come from? And what do we do when we want to dive deeper? I'm getting into all of that right now. The root of the word means to weave. So I find that it's beautiful to think about it in this way that it's weaving all the different parts of us into one and recognizing how important our oneness is and that we are all divine, but also not just us as human beings, but in this entire universe, that it's this fabric of infinite patterns. And again, it's just this idea that we were all these divine, energetic, spiritual beings. It originated in the ancient Eastern world, specifically India, and it initially was this instructional text, often this dialogue between a goddess and a god, outlining this array of rituals, invoking these Tantra deities and welcoming these different rituals and practices and teachings in your everyday life. It was retained by ones in power. It was this promise of longevity. It was the path to enlightenment. Its ideology was that we are all sacred and interconnected, and that we all harness this divine energy. Tantra led to a bunch of beautiful practices of life, and one of those at this time, which was thousands of years ago, was Hatha yoga, which is a form of yoga meaning force. So it's like channeling that force within you. It kind of centers around this idea of the goddess Kundalini, who kind of sits at the base of your spine, and she wraps up as a serpent on your back. And she has, all these energy centers of your body, chakras. And it's about using that breath control to, channel Kundalini and have her rise through you like a current and infuse these chakras with power. Now, it wasn't just about power. This Hatha yoga was also about balance. The word Hatha also has root words meaning sun and moon. So it was about balance too, recognizing the importance of balance. And that was one of the ancient teachings of Tantra as well, was recognizing the balance. And they actually used gender to articulate how important it was to have these two different qualities, this feminine and this masculine energy. We have the feminine wisdom and the masculine compassion, and how important it was to have those interconnected together within us. And it was often visualized in this goddess and god wrapped together, and in this kind of sexual sacred union together. But it wasn't about, this duality. It was about the balance and uniting those powers within you. And everything is sacred, even the traditionally profane and impure. So because everything has this divine nature, our sexual energy is there for a reason. And I know it's so common in this Western interpretation of Tantra and the teachings of Tantra, and it's thought to mean sex and pleasure. But that's not what it is. Tantra means so much more than that. It is, though, this tool to use to transcend our physical body into this like beautiful, spiritual, blissful state. So it's this instrument to use to reach that enlightenment or that higher consciousness and use that power to stimulate your mind and your body in monumental ways. To me, Tantra is like this philosophy, and it's all about, these teachings and how it stemmed into all these beautiful ways of life. And it's all about experience. It's all about practice. And it's all about, manifesting that power and using it to your advantage. So first we have meditation. That is about, getting rid of your senses. You're reaching that blissful, clear state of mind, free of chaos, free of that constant inner monkey mind that's always going and thinking, keeping you awake at night. Meditation is separating yourself from your senses and just being clear. Then you have yoga, which is using movement and breath to channel this energy and ignite this power throughout your chakras in your body. And then there's also art. Tantra has led to some really beautiful art, whether it's goddess and God, using these, a lot of us use these archetypes or these statues to remind us of these archetypes and these values to hold true to us, or to remind us of what we want to instill in our everyday life, as well as mandalas. They're so popular and common now in art. Then there's sexual practice. We all should have a powerful connection sexually to ourselves and our partners. And among that sexual practice, you have to be aware of those senses. And so I know through me and my kind of Tantra practices in myself, I just remind myself to stay in the moment and to focus on my senses when I'm in that intimate setting with a lover or myself. We also need to, recognize how important it is to channel that goddess and God energy. I know I've mentioned to you in the past these mantras that I have when I was talking about shame and how important it is to be kind to yourself. Well, one of my mantras is, I am a divine, beautiful, sexual goddess. And that is another way that a lot of Tantra teachers use to, channel this spiritual energy and cultivate it in your sexual life or your everyday life, is to remind yourself that you are a god and a goddess. And remind yourself how important sex and spirit are meant to be linked and how much you can use that energy to your advantage. So this is kind of moving us to, what do you do if you want to use this magical force of energy that is within us and cultivate these Tantra teachings in your life? So first you have to make that connection to spirit, connect to your spiritual self. Maybe that feels a little bit intense for some of you and heavy. I know I grew up going to church every Sunday, so I have a lot of Jesus and God teachings from my younger years. But now I find that what brings me comfort and understanding is this spirit within us, spirit all around us. It's this like magical feminine energy of the universe. Mother Nature, she's this just stunning, beautiful energy around us. And once I recognized that that was like my spirit and my power that I believed in, that has what I channel and I feel grateful for every day is the beauty of our universe and this beautiful feminine energy of Mother Nature. Now, we also have this beautiful feminine energy in all of us. And like I mentioned her before, this beautiful goddess Kundalini. So like I said, she's a serpent. She's wrapped in this visual. You can look it up, but it's just this goddess energy that is inside of us and that fuels all these chakras, and we awaken it when we do yoga or breath work or certain chakra healings and things like that. But ultimately, she is this energetic presence within us. And when you recognize that divine energy as well, it's just a great connection for me. And that's how I feel connected to my spiritual self, or one of them anyways. So find how you connect to spirit and welcome that. And then next, like I mentioned, harness that God and goddess energy and see yourself as this divine being. You know, we often get caught up in ego or just insecurities or whatever it is, and we forget how important it is to see ourselves as just this powerful, energetic presence, and our partners as well. You know, I always call my partner my king, and I'm the queen, and all our fur babies and our critters are our princes and our princesses. But ultimately, that a lot of us use those terms, and it's a good reminder, like, that we are these powerful beings. And it's a great way to just see yourself and to see your partner, because then when you see them that way, then you will be willing to worship them when you're in an intimate setting, and you will be giving them just so much powerful and wonderful energy because you see them in this magical way. And, you know, even when my partner annoys the shit out of me, when he interrupts me, when he challenges me constantly, you know, I still remind myself that, you know what, he is this divine, special person that I've chosen to be with, and I do want to worship him and worship myself too. You know, I see myself in that light as well. And when I'm in an intimate setting with myself, like, I worship my body, I take care of it, I enjoy every little touch and sensation that I'm giving my body. Once you make that connection to spirit, once you channel that goddess or God energy, then you just have to ignite your senses. Be aware of those sensations. For me, when I'm in an intimate moment with myself or a partner, I recognize the vibrations of my pelvis or the tingles in my fingertips and my toes. You know, I take note with all the warmth of my body or his body or her body, you know, whoever it is that I'm with, you know, the softness of her curves. Like, I recognize those sensations and taste and smell, and I just feel more aware and present in this intimate setting, and it just makes everything 1,000 times better. So these are kind of ways that I use Tantra teachings in my own life. Now, there's other avenues and ways to explore, and if you do want to explore like the actual, like, sitting in front of a partner and doing breathing exercises, I recommend looking up Layla Martin. She actually created her own school around Tantra. She lived in India and traveled a lot over in the eastern areas where it began, and so she has a lot of experience in that world, and she's been teaching it for years. So she is a good place to start if you want to dive into some more. But this is kind of where I have used Tantra in my own life. And again, when you just lead with more intention and awareness, then that's just going to lead you to live a more blissful state of being. When sex is just sex, it can be very stagnant and stale, and it can just leave you feeling not as great. And so by harnessing the sexual energy within us and cultivating it in our life and using that energy between you and your partner to imagine it flowing like a current through you and through your partner or through yourself, it can be very rewarding and it can lead you to a magical, powerful orgasm. And so I find that by practicing these steps and by recognizing where this all came from and what practices it's led our society to today and how important all of these facets are, it really is this doorway to this higher state of being, this higher sense of consciousness, this way to transcend, like I said before, to the physical body to this spiritual one, to lead you to enlightenment. Again, it's giving you this base knowledge of ways to expand yourself and just be a happier and healthier human being, which I want for you. So that's all I have for today. I really appreciate it. Please get into it and let me know what you think. Love you all. Talk soon.